We went from quiet luxury to loud budgeting. It's the latest trend that's taken over TikTok, and in this video I'm going to share if it's a valid strategy that you should hop on board with, and also some of the loud budgeting tips that I'm using to save some money. So what exactly is loud budgeting? Loud budgeting is a public declaration of how you're going to spend your money and in turn setting financial boundaries. For example, let's say you're invited to a destination wedding, which is going to cost you a lot of money, but maybe that's not in your budget, and instead you say, hey, I have other financial commitments right now and so I can't attend this wedding. And the interesting part is that usually public displays of financial constraints or intentions to save money are often looked down upon because of those feelings of YOLO or spending or that peer pressure to spend. But this new trend might actually help people save, because now it's not about I don't have the money to spend, but it's I'd rather choose to spend this money on other things that are more important to me. And it's those moments of peer pressure when you're invited to that destination wedding that ends up costing you a lot of money, especially when you would rather spend it towards something else. Maybe it's those investing goals that you have or paying down debt, and being conscious about how you spend your money. It's almost like loud budgeting is a way of like conscious spending, and it's almost like the opposite of YOLO. I think one of the best parts about loud budgeting is it avoids the social media glamorization of overspending, which is a really big shift, especially in the world of social media where overspending is so glamorized, with the parties on yachts to renting mansions or buying exotic cars, which are oftentimes just rented for the day anyways. But loud budgeting is the opposite, and it's about sharing your financial goals, your priorities, as well as your financial constraints and struggles. Whether that's saying you're paying down debt or saving to invest some money. And so those are all reasons that you can't come to that trip with your friends or go to that destination wedding, because you have other priorities that you're focused on. And you feel more comfortable saying no, because again, it's that anti-YOLO, it's trying to get away from that peer pressure. Now, the downside of sharing all of this online is that not everyone is going to agree with you, and that could create feelings and emotions of shame, especially if you're not spending like you used to, or spending the same way as other people. You might get judged for, hey, everyone's spending and going on this trip, why aren't you? Or everyone's, going to that third or fourth bar tonight, why aren't you joining us as well? But remember that at the end of the day, these financial goals are to make you happy, and so that's the priority, to focus on the things that make you happy. And this might mean that your loud budgeting isn't publicly displayed on social media, but instead it's maybe done in privately. You're saying it to yourself that these are your financial goals and these are things that you're going to say no to. Or maybe you have a small group of friends or a group online that you can work with. This is very common in the FIRE community, where there's like Facebook groups or meetups specifically for people who are committed to FIRE, financial independence and retiring early, where they share their stories and experiences. And I'm sure loud budgeting would fit right in with the FIRE movement. So it's about having that small group of people around you that you can trust and that will support you, almost like having a gym buddy where they motivate you, they inspire you, and they also help keep you accountable as well. And remember, at the end of the day, loud budgeting is all about putting your financial aspirations up front for everyone to see. So again, like if it's you're saving up for that house, you're saving up for an investment, putting that on display so that people know what your priorities are, so that you're making money work for you and spending it on what makes you happy. An example of loud budgeting for me is that this year I'm really focused on building my fix and flip business, and so that means saying no to international travel. And the reason I'm saying no to international trips is those trips are usually more for vacations. And it's funny, the other day my manager, he's actually been traveling quite a bit over the past couple of months, he asked, oh, like, do you have any plans for the coming year? And I essentially told him, like, no, international travel is not on the agenda for me this year, just because I do have other financial goals that I want to achieve this year. And he was very supportive and totally understood. And I'm actually really excited because I'll be able to focus on this business, and then I'll probably collect a bunch of points throughout the year as well. And then next year I'll be able to go on I think I'll have a bunch of points and be able to spend it on probably like a really nice bucket list trip. Maybe that's like business class or first class to Asia or Europe or somewhere else, which I think would be a really nice reward. So how can loud budgeting help achieve your financial goals? Well, here are some of the ways that I implement loud budgeting into my life, and make sure to stick all the way to the end, because I'm going to share one tip which can really have the biggest impact on your financial future. So the first one is saying no. The easiest example that I can think of is saying no to friends when you're going out for drinks, especially if you live in an expensive city. Like, Seattle or LA or New York, you go out for a drink and a drink is like $15-20 sometimes. I've been to places where they're like $30 and it definitely adds up quick. And then not to account for like the Ubers getting there and back, and then sometimes you go to a second bar after, and yeah, it can become a very expensive night really quickly. So saying no to your friends on occasions like that and saying, hey, instead I have these other priorities that I'm focused on and that's why I'm saying no, and finding other ways to still be able to do what you enjoy without having to spend that money. So for example, you want to have a night out with friends, but instead of going out to a restaurant or going out to a bar, maybe you do a potluck at home instead. So everyone brings like a dish and you get together and you can still have a really good time. Or another one that I really like to do is going for coffee with friends. Again, sometimes going for lunch or dinner can get expensive. And oftentimes I just like the idea of going somewhere, going for a coffee and then going for a walk after. I find it's really nice because it's an activity that you do together and it's also really cheap, which is a great bonus. So that's another idea that I actually do quite a bit. Okay, the next one is implementing the 48-hour rule. And what that means is if you want to buy something, before you purchase it, wait 48 hours. So maybe you're on a website where you want to buy something, you put it into your shopping cart and you just leave it there. And then you come back after 48 hours and then you think about, you reflect on it during that time. Is this something that I really want, really need? And if it's still something that you want and need, then purchase it. Or maybe you come to realize that you don't actually want it or need it, and so you just don't end up buying it, and in the moment you were just impulse buying. So this saves you from that and can help you save a lot of money. The next one is having no spend weeks. Now you can do this as often as you want. Maybe it's every other week, maybe once a month or once a quarter, whatever works for you. But the point is having a week where you are focused on saving money through whether it's you make coffee at home that week or you don't have takeout that week. It's finding little ways to save that extra little bit of money that can really help. And while we're talking about all these ways to save money, another really important aspect of loud budgeting is to keep the fun in the budget. Because while saving money is important, it's not about being restrictive and not having fun. Because I find when you do that, you end up indulging or overcompensating anyways. And we saw that during the pandemic where everyone was like locked up and couldn't travel or do anything. So they saved up all this money. But then for the following 2 years, everyone was revenge traveling. Everyone was like going on all these trips. All those savings that you had are basically gone because of that, because you were so restrictive during that period of time. And then you ended up overcompensating afterwards. So I think having that balance where you continuously do activities that make you happy, whether it's small trips around town or going away for the weekend, making sure you still keep that yoga membership if that's something that you enjoy, or if your goal is to learn sailing, you make sure that you learn to sail. As long as it's being done responsibly and these things aren't gonna compromise your financial goals down the road. Okay, this one's actually one of my favorite, and it's going for quality over quantity, especially when it comes to shopping. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're looking for a new t-shirt or new jeans or whatever it might be. Instead of going to the store and buying like $10, $15 shirts, you instead buy 2 really high quality shirts that are maybe $75 each. And the best part with that is not only are they gonna be higher quality, they'll last longer, they're also probably going to fit you better, be more comfortable, and be more luxurious as well, which is a added benefit. One example is lately I've been buying a lot of Lululemon shirts, and the reason for that is they're, one, super comfortable, but they're also like anti-odor and like sweat resistant, so they're great for everyday wear. I can go from recording a YouTube video to going to play tennis and going out for dinner afterwards, and I can be wearing the same shirt and like it doesn't smell, it doesn't get soaked in sweat, it dries really quickly, and it's super comfortable. And it actually saves me, instead of having to need 3 different shirts for each of those occasions, I have one shirt that I can use for all of it. And that's a way that I've been implementing buying quality instead of quantity. And another one is, so I recently bought a pair of Koyo sneakers. So they're like a luxury Italian sneaker. They were definitely more expensive than what I'm used to buying, but they were way more comfortable, way more stylish. And the best part is these shoes will probably last me much longer than any other shoe that I had bought previously, and I feel really good at them. So I'm actually really excited about it. Now, if you want me to do a more detailed review of these shoes, let me know in the comments below. I'll do a whole review of my experience with Koyo shoes and also how I look at buying luxury items from a financial perspective. Okay, the next one is buying groceries online. And you might be thinking, but I'm gonna pay shipping or it's generally more expensive. Now, sometimes it is slightly more expensive. Like I've noticed some items are like maybe a little bit more, and then at least at Whole Foods, before they used to have free delivery, now they charge you. So that's kind of annoying. But the best part is, like with online delivery, is it saves you time and you don't have to go to the grocery store, pick what you want, wait in line, and then drive back home. Like that alone can sometimes take like 2 hours. The other benefit is you can buy exactly what you need. You're on their website or on the app and you order what you want. Versus when you're in the store, I find you can get distracted and sometimes you see things that look really good, especially snacks, and then you just end up buying them and they're not always good for you or stuff that you wanted. And my favorite part is we get like sparkling water, Waterloo. They should sponsor this channel, honestly, for the amount of Waterloo that I drink. But they're heavy, and so sometimes we'll get like 6 or 7 cases of it because we don't want to be going back and forth from the store. But then you have to first get the Waterloo cases into your car, then you have to bring it into your house, and like we've got stairs, so like that's really annoying. Versus when you order it online, it just comes to your doorstep. It's great. So I think you really, with online delivery and online grocery shopping, you really save money in that sense because you're not buying extra things, and then you also save a lot of time. Especially like those 2-hour grocery shopping trips. I feel so tired afterwards. Like I feel like I need a rest day after it, so definitely a lot of time saved. So this next one is something that I've been doing slowly over the last couple of weeks, and that's unfollowing social media accounts. Now what I mean by that is unfollow accounts that breed like FOMO or comparison. How many videos have you seen where it's like, TikTok made me buy this? Like imagine how many times that's happened and how much money you could have saved if you didn't buy those things. I'm pretty sure it could add up to like a couple of $100s, which is a lot. Okay, now this one is the most important, and it is building money routines. And what I mean by that is every time you get paid, set aside a small amount for savings and investments, whether that's $5 a day, which is like $50 every 2 weeks every time you get paid if you get paid bi-weekly. And if you make this part of your Loud budgeting where you announce that this is what you're doing, I think it'll help keep you accountable to doing that. And I think in the long run, especially if you keep investing slowly over time, it's the best thing you can do for your financial future. So those are some of my favorite Loud budgeting tips that I use in my life. At the end of the day, it's about organizing your finances in a way that optimizes your life and that's not restrictive, and that also doesn't compromise your financial future. If you're looking to learn more about personal finance and investing, then definitely check out some of these videos next.